Hey guys, thanks for coming out. I'm Randy Falk from Neca, Director of Product Development. This is some of the creative team up here that works in all different departments. I'm going to introduce each person to you, and then we'll go through and talk a little bit about what each person or what function or role they have in the company, what they do. So this is Roger Fernandez to my immediate left. He is one of our fabricators, and he makes a lot of weapons and accessories for all the different action figures that we make. Right next to Roger is Jeffrey Trapp, and Jeff is one of our painters and also does some packaging illustrations for us as well. Socialist, Canadian extraordinaire. He's here illegally, so look out. This is our diorama maker, right from straight out of Canada, Stefan. Stefan, to his left is Chris Ramo, who does a lot of our packaging, specifically a lot of the ultimate format figures we've been doing, and the video game appearances, all that classic 8-bit and 16-bit window boxes. That's Chris's stuff right there. And then all the way at the end is David Silva, and Dave is one of our main lead sculptors and also designers. He's done a ton of great design work for us on all the Kenner Predators, Pacific Rim, suction cup stand, which is an inside joke, but the Blade Fighter from Predator, some of the stuff we're going to talk about today, like Cinemachine. So Dave is a sculptor and designer for us, and has done some packaging illustration too, so jack of all trades. So we'll go through each guy individually, let them talk a little bit about what they do on a day-to-day basis, like what their job entails. I think everyone right now can discuss their current projects except for you. So you can talk about what you did right before it, or just the thing you're doing with Trevor, leave out, but everything else is fair game. So Roger will tell you a little bit about what his day entails. We'll leave out dog time. His dog is always with us in the office, but we'll talk a little bit about what a fabricator does at Neca Toys. Just slide it.
Hello. Hi. Yeah, pretty much I work on the accessories for the figures. We're getting everything from weapons to any little thing that the characters interact with or hold. On a daily basis, I'm constantly just looking at reference and trying to take what you see in the movies or the cartoons, the games, wherever we're playing. Trying to break that down, look at the different angles to see how we can accurately reproduce that in a smaller scale. So basically spend all day grinding away at plastic and trying to avoid glue fumes from a couple of these guys over here. You know who you are.
Yeah, fabrication, if they don't know, is a lot like sculpting, only it's not with clay and wax, and it's for stuff that's more mechanical in nature. So you can't really sculpt a gun or a knife and have it look precision, machine, straight lines, straight edges. So Roger and Anthony and Brad, who are in his department as well, they do all that stuff and make it precise and neat and clean, and it looks far better than it ever would look if it was sculpted by hand using clay or wax.
Yeah, it's a lot more like technical, it's a lot more machining. Like you said, can't really work with clay to make a gun. It doesn't work as well, so we'll work with plastics. I've used mills and lathes and other heavy machinery, and just try not to lose any fingers while we're doing it. Pretty much it. They're all still here. Yeah. Close calls.
Jeff, talk a little bit about what you're working on right now, because it's stuff no one has seen yet, and then a little bit about what a typical day at Neca is like for you.
My usual day, my day begins with a little trip to eBay. Lots of eBay. So paint, pretty much anything that we do is going to get painted by us first, and we'll do a prototype, which is usually we'll see at the cases and everything like that on the display floor. And also the photos. That includes the accessories, all the accessories we hand paint. We have to do 2 copies, one that's going to go to China for production, and another that's going to stay here for our records, so we have them. And we use those for photography. We basically spend a lot of time looking up reference to make sure we get the colors right on everything. We want to make sure we're putting out the best product we can possibly do. I know that our sculptors spend a lot of time looking up reference to make sure they're getting the product exactly right. So I can say for sure that we like to think anyway, we nail what we do. Of course, I think some fans are going to disagree, but I think we do. So that's basically what we do, is a lot of research, and then we have to paint 2 of the product. And we paint just about, me and my fellow painter, John, we pretty much paint everything that comes down the pipe. Sometimes there's some stuff that just gets painted in China, but for the most part, we do all that work. That's it.
Yep. All right, Stefan?
Hello. I create the dioramas and set design for Neca. And we look at the reference, just like the sculptors and the painters, and we look at what figure is coming out, and Randy and I will discuss what kind of set we want to show off the figures in for Comic-Con, Toy Fair, conventions like this. We have the sets here displaying the figures. We'll look at the reference, the movie, and see, hey, that scene looks cool, let's do that set, let's put it on the packaging, and start from scratch. You know, usually the dioramas that I've done are created with wood or styrofoam or plastic or styrene or blood, sweat, tears, fumes, death, etc. Yeah, the dioramas are fun, and that's what I do. Yeah.
Chris?
Hi, everybody. I do package design, which does not sound that awesome, but it actually is awesome. We basically try to match the amount of detail and accuracy that the figures have. Like, I do just as much research as anybody else here, just to make sure when we do like the 8-bit boxes, like I put the right logos in the right spots, we get the right fonts and everything to make sure everything looks cool. And that's pretty much it.
Dave?
All right. Hello. In addition to sculpting and designing, part of my job is to give the fabricators a hard time.
Which he does.
Definitely part of his job.
Typical day for me is to sculpt the pieces and look up a bunch of reference if I have to, but lately it's been a lot more fun because we've been doing more conceptual things like Kenner, and we've been designing more things that way. So it's allowed us to be a bit more creative. But when we are using reference, we really try to focus on every little tiny detail. And sometimes a reference takes a long time to put together. But it's always fun, and sometimes I get to draw things too, so I can't complain.
Cool. All right, so we're going to kind of run through some of the licenses that we're working on right now and give you a little teaser here and there. You can go ahead and pop that one open. We'll do Alien first. So you'll see some figures here you might not have seen yet. This covers all the way through Series 7. Which will come out in the early part of 2016. There's a few figures on the bottom there which hadn't been seen, I guess, fully at this point. But Series 6 we have hitting real soon. It's based on Isolation, the video game from last year. And nope, I don't know. Believe it or not, he works on a computer all day long, I promise. So anyway, Series 7 will have 2 Predators from AVP to go along with our, have 2 Aliens from AVP to go along with our AVP Predators. And on the lower right corner, there's an alien that no one has seen before. Does anyone know the origin of that alien in the lower right corner? The guy right here.
The Dark Horse, Fire and Stone?
No,
series?
it's not that one. It is not. It's probably more obscure than that. Well, my own immediate family is disqualified. Yeah. It is actually from the 1979 film when they originally did the movie with Giger and Ridley Scott. He was supposed to be translucent and flesh-colored, just like the facehuggers and the eggs. And whatever problem they were having with the latex, it was tearing and would not hold up to filming conditions. So they scrapped it. But that original suit went up for auction not too long ago. There's tons of documentation about it. There's photos of the stuntman in it. There's photos of the suit on set. It just didn't make it on screen. So Profiles and History, I think, had it up for auction. It went for over 10 grand or something. You can Google it, everything's on there about it, but that's what the original suit was supposed to look like. So it basically is Big Chap, but in a really cool translucent white. So it's going to be our first of concept aliens that we'll be rolling out and sprinkling them in different waves next year. So it's pretty cool. It looks completely different. The detail really pops on it, which is pretty cool. So that'll be part of Series 7 in roughly February. Yeah.
Is this visual guide going to be online?
Yeah, this full visual guide in high res will be up for you guys to download sometime between now and the end of the year. Probably right after Series 6 hits retail. We generally, usually, the last couple of years, around Christmas time, as like a present or thank you to the fans, have done visual guides that you can download for Predator, Alien, Pacific Rim, basically all our biggest lines. So yeah, that will be up there sometime within the next month. Chris, you want to pop back out and let's go into Ash vs. Evil Dead. New episode tonight. I don't know if you guys are watching it, but you should be. I can only show you a little teaser right there. This little creature was in last week's episode in the bookstore that Ash went to. So that is what it looks like as we're working on it. That's it in wax. The character is called Eligos or Eligos. I'm not sure of the pronunciation, but we're working on that. A few different versions of Ash from that show. If you're not watching it, you should be. It's really good. I subscribe to Stars just for that show, and you should too. But it's cool. Those will be out early part of next year. We'll show the full line. Toy Fair February, if not sooner. So
In an awesome diorama.
Yeah, yeah, little plug there. Yeah, diorama's coming out really cool. Hitting retail really in a matter of days, a couple weeks away. We have them on display here. It's our AVP Predators, which are definitely something you should check out. They're all brand new. They're bigger and badder than any Predator we've done before. And right there you can see everything that will be released as of the end of this year, including all the different card backs we've done. And we have Series 15 done, which will continue the AVP theme. And Dave did some amazing designs for Series 16, which is Kenner based. So you're gonna see some really cool, I'd say the best Kenner wave yet. Yeah, Spike Tail is something you're gonna see, Clan Leader, there's some really great stuff happening. Those are a lot of fun for all of us just because we had those crappy Kenner toys in the early 90s, but it's fun to go back and look at the designs and the ideas those guys had, which are really good, but then taking them to a whole nother level with the way we sculpt and detail and articulate our figures. And when you see the next three, you're gonna be blown away. We will definitely have those at Toy Fair in February. Chris, you can pop back out into the stylized gallery, which is in that same folder. I'll give you a look at some of the AVP stuff. We can just kind of run through. You can pop them all open at once if you want, and just toggle through them. But these are all on display right now in the booth. We're booth 810 down there. If you haven't been over, we're right in the front. This is Celtic, Chopper, and Scar, and those are hitting real soon. So if you're a Predator fan, definitely check those out. There's a really good diorama being made to include the aliens as well, which you'll see come Toy Fair, as we will have a full collection of all the Predators and aliens from that film. Finally, I think that's the thing we put off the longest, just because we wanted to do the original films first, and you know, none of us were really big fans of AVP. It was certainly our least favorite. But the guys did a great job making the figures cool and kind of tweaking some of the proportions and the designs to make them a little bit more Predator-like and less linebacker-like, which was, I think, one of the biggest problems with what they did in the movie. But the figures are great, and so are the new aliens, which the Grid Alien and the AVP Warrior Alien, they're sick, super articulated and really cool. So stop by and check them out. They are actually all on display in our booth in 810. Let's see, what else? Pop back out of there. Yeah, go ahead.
Just to add something, I think that the articulation on those particular aliens is probably some of the best we've done for our aliens. So even if you're not a fan of the movie, I would say pick them up if you're a fan of Alien, because you're going to get the best possible poses, if you're into that sort of thing, with those figures. So I'm telling you, it's definitely worth it.
Yeah, they're super fun. Just forget about the movies. Just pretend like there's not a movie. And we just put out some really kick-ass toys.
Yeah, I mean, not to sound like we sit around patting ourselves on the back, but when we have the toys in the studio finished and when we set them up, we all pose them and look at them and I admire them, and we kind of say like, I can't believe how much love we've given this crappy movie. We put more effort into these figures than they put into making the film and stuff like that. And but it's cool. They're great toys regardless of the quality of the movie. And Alien and Predator fans are still, rabid. It's why those lines are so good for us. We're like I said, 14 series into Predator and 7 series into Alien, and no end in sight. So the characters are what's important. Let's move back out. Let's do a little bit of the video game stuff. I think there's a folder called VGA in there. Yeah. Let's go ahead. We'll start with Kratos. Okay, so we did Kratos a long time ago, God of War 2, and we are back for God of War 3, which came out a few years back, but we are doing a brand new Ultimate Kratos. Comes with 2 different head sculpts, the cestus, which you can put on his fists, the blades of Athena, and those can go on his hands, or there's like a little accessory on his back where you can put them on where they kind of crisscross and of articulation, and definitely the best Kratos figure that's ever been done. He should hit right in the new year, so definitely be looking for that if you were a God of War fan. We did a good job with God of War 2 years ago. We let the license go and someone else tried to do it and they didn't do so well, so now we're back to show them how it should be done. In addition to Sony's God of War, we're doing Uncharted. Nathan Drake, new game, Uncharted 4 comes out in March, and we'll have a figure out for that too. I can't show it to you yet, but you will definitely see it sometime in the next month or 2. It's really close to being finished. I think we'll be painting the prototype this week, actually. So, pretty excited about that one. And then also from Sony, we're doing Little Big Planet, which is on sale now. I've seen them on the show floor. Those are in stores at the moment. And then we'll talk a little bit about, you can go to the next image that's in the same, I think it's Terminator, yeah. So the video game appearances is something we've been doing for about 2.5 years now. It kind of came out of nowhere when we did this 8-bit Jason for San Diego Comic-Con 2 years ago, and that thing blew up. It was based on the really not so good LJN video game from 1989, and it's turned into a whole separate series for us. So that's a look at the T2 T800 video game figure, which will be coming out. Again, it's packaged in like the old cartridge style box, and we do crazy paint jobs, cell shading, and sometimes pixel, I guess you'd say imitation pixels, where we're doing little squares and different things on the deco. The painters really get all the credit on this line because I'll come up with a lot of the ideas or concepts, but then they go wild with the colors and the shading and the approaches we're going to take. A couple of my personal favorites are the Godzilla, where we do the longer fins and has the squares painted on them to look pixelized, and then the Rambo, which is just insane. He has like bright red pants and this crazy shading and blue highlights in his hair, and I just think they look so cool because it looks exactly like how they looked in the video game and on the title screen and stuff like that. So
something like that is fun for us as painters to work on, just because we get to add a little bit of our own interpretation to it. So I hope you guys keep buying them because I enjoy working on them. So and I think they're cool looking. I think it's an interesting idea. Even if those games aren't, some of them don't hold up as well, but they're still fun. And even that pixel art, I love that. With the with the blue hair, and it's just cool looking stuff. So it's fun to be able to turn that into a toy.
I mean, there's all these little kids like crazy about Minecraft, and it's the same thing. They don't even know where it came from, But this is it's something that's been fun, and we all played those games growing up. So this will give you a little look at the like the graphic design aspect, which Chris works on. So that's kind of a flat file look at what the packaging will look like for the T2 video game box. So the original cartridge box looked exactly like that, except on the back there were screenshots of the game. We put little shots of the figure and the product on there, and usually some kind of goofy caption or quote or something along with it that we make toy specific rather than game specific. But they've been a lot of fun. We're about 15 figures into this line now, which is cool. And I grew up with Nintendo, Super Nintendo, and it's good stuff. So let's go to the next one. See what else is anything else in there. That's it. Okay. So the retro line is sort of kind of a nod back to or an homage to what Mego was, but it's like modern day Mego because it's really detailed sculpting, but hands, feet, and accessories. But they're wearing you know, cloth clothes. Hateful Eight is Tarantino's new movie. It comes out Christmas Day. We're doing the whole line there of all the 8 main characters. So those are up for pre-order right now. Like I said, they will be out in about a month. This is a brand new one no one has seen yet. Weird Al Yankovic. 30 plus years he's been going strong. So we're doing Weird Al in this format. He comes with an accordion, a microphone, and then 2 different heads that you can interchange. One based on his classic 80s look with the mustache and the glasses, and then a more modern, you know, longer hair Al without the spectacles. So it's a pretty cool one. That is a little look at the line. I think that's pretty much everything except for maybe one Iron Maiden figure that's released so far. One of the coolest things about this line, aside from the figures themselves, is the packaging. Going back to what people used to do in the 70s and 80s was have beautiful illustrated art just on the box that was created just for the packaging. And that's a lost art form because now everything is style guide and cookie cutter stuff, and kind of like the way movie posters are now. This line differs in that respect, in that we will create or contract freelance artists to create new art for these cards. So artists like Jason Emiston, who's pretty big with like Mondo. Jeff has done 1 or 2. Yeah. Another John who works with Jeff has done a couple, John Wardell. So internally, if we have time, some of our guys have done these, or we contract out artists that we're just fans of, or that we watch what they're doing. I buy prints or posters off some of these guys, and they all like toys too. So it's a cool line where I think the packaging really is just as cool, if not cooler than some of the product. Like Jason's stuff is beautiful. It's really cool custom art. You know, that really helps sell the figure. When you see it on the shelf, it's something you don't see anymore. If you go back to the 80s, toys like G.I. Joe, Real American Hero, and He-Man, they're fun toys and everything, but you know, they're not great toys. It's the box that sold you. I mean, those paintings look like a Frazetta painting or a Boris or something. The stuff looked amazing, and then you get this squatted, you know, goofy-looking He-Man. He didn't really look like Conan, but anyhow, you know, so that's what that's all about with the packaging on that line. I think I have a teaser in the next one, which is getting some, yes. So the Wild Stallions, Bill and Ted, is another reveal. They will be joining the line in the spring of next year, and it will be a 2-pack with Bill and Ted and their guitars, based on the original Excellent Adventure film. So it's a fun one we wanted to do for a long time. So they're looking pretty good so far. We're finishing the guitars, and I think we're almost done with those. So should be good to go. You guys can go see. And there's one more in there, Chris? That's it. Yeah, back out. We don't have clearance to show the full bodies on all of them yet, so I think we're going to cut Hateful Eight short there. Do a little bit on Pacific Rim. I don't have anything new that I can share yet, but Dave is probably the biggest Pacific Rim fan there is. Has done almost all the sculpting, certainly on all the kaijus, and has art directed the Jaegers and any of the digital stuff we've done. So if you're a Pacific Rim fan, this is a line that really has defied the odds. The movie was marginally successful 2.5 years ago. Barely did 100 million at the box office, yet we've done 2.5 years worth of toys and about 25 figures, I think, at this point. And box sets, stuff like Itachi and the 18-inch figures and stuff like that. So we have Mutavore coming out right at the end of the year, and an Ultimate Striker Eureka, which is a whole brand new figure that Dave, interchangeable thing on the chest with the rockets coming out. So no one knows it better than Dave, except for maybe Guillermo del Toro. So let Dave talk a little bit about, I guess, what your favorite item in Pacific Rim has been, and I guess what's the most challenging thing into, translating them into toys.
My favorite one is easily Itachi, probably the land version. I came to Randy about this before we even thought about doing it, and during my Christmas break, I did some designs on my own time to just propose the idea of doing an Itachi when we thought it would be doable. And whenever we bring it up, it was always, it's too big, we can't do it. So I worked out how big it would be, what we would need to do, and how many uses we could get out of it. And we ended up doing it, and I was really, really into it. And the one with the wings just made it even better. So that's probably my favorite by far. And this last one that we did, the Mutivore, I feel like it has by far the best articulation, because every time we do one, I get a little bit better at figuring out how to work the articulation in with the designs and not compromising the designs. And Mutivore is really the best that we've done so far. And then, what? Which one's Mutivore?
The one that says Mutivore under it. It's all the way up.
Jeff has only seen the movie one time on a small screen, so he hates, probably missed it. He's gonna bring up Mutivore.
Yeah.
Just for Jeff.
Yes.
There you go.
Oh, that one.
Yeah. So John painted this one. That's why I remember.
That's why he has no idea.
That's why it's so good.
Paint job's amazing. You can't really tell from the photos, but the paint job's incredible. Yeah, so this one really we're able to push the articulation. His head will go almost all the way 90 degrees to each side, and the elbows you can do this with. So I mean, there's a lot you can do with this, and it turned out really nice, I think. And I'm sure we've all seen the Hardship. It shares some parts with this. Again, that's really cool looking kaiju, even though you barely see it in the movie. It's just very unique, and the colors on it are much different than what we've seen before. So I feel like each time we get better with each one, and I hope we can continue, because they're a hell of a lot of fun to work on, and you know, they look so great when you put them all together.
Yeah, we have some more stuff done too. We hope the line keeps going. The sequel's sort of in limbo at the moment, kind of changes, but we have other, we did show Hardship at San Diego, so we have Hardship done, and we have plans to do ultimate versions of all the main Jaegers, which are all different than what's come before, better articulation, better features. We have the Battle at the Docks Gypsy, which had the containers, the shipping containers, and the kaiju blood on them and stuff. So
that's a cool one.
We've gone further. Like until we know when the stuff is coming out, we don't want to tease the fans and say like, oh, you know, show all this stuff, and then if it doesn't happen, then everyone gets mad at me. And yeah, turtles or apes or any other things. It's a challenge, like not showing you guys too much, but we definitely, a huge fan down there, and he's done tons of work on this line, and we have more sort of in the bank. So if it continues to sell and the fan base continues to show interest, we'll keep refreshing it with new figures even into next year. So the audience has been, the audience that this movie was made for has definitely embraced it, at least in toy form. So it's gone, you know, really strong. I think having Godzilla out there helped too. He's just kept that whole kaiju thing on people's minds and in their, you know, subconscious and what have you. So. Yeah, so I mean, it's been a great line. Our best, like I said before, is Predator and then Alien, and this has been, you know, a close third. So.
One other thing is when we originally did the figures, we didn't have any reference, and were they digital?
Yeah, the original, at least the first wave was the Kaijus and the Jaegers were from digital files from ILM, and they weren't like even finalized yet from the film when we got the files. So like the first series stuff was okay, but it wasn't up to our usual standards in terms of articulation or detail. And then, you know, when the movie comes out and we see like all this stuff in it, it's given us a chance to, in the case of Gypsy especially, go back and redo and right the wrongs, and now with Stryker, like detail we didn't have before, articulation we didn't have before, features we didn't have before. And you know, really that is a challenge with any new IP, any new intellectual property where we're developing a toy line to release with the film. You're always chasing after the reference, and the fact that almost everything now is done in CGI, they're changing that stuff till the last minute, so it's not like it's a practical effect, so you're waiting and guessing all the time as to what it's going to look like and what scenes are going to, you know, work or resonate with fans, or what are people going to want a toy of. It's totally a guessing game. Ash vs. Evil Dead is another great example. You know, we're watching it just like you guys. Every week we watch a new episode. It's not like we have the whole season or know what's going on. We get a bunch of photos, and I look through those photos and try to you know, make an educated guess at what people are going to want in a figure. And then we watch every week and cross our fingers and hope that we're right. And again, the reference changes. We have a figure that's done now, and they kind of want to represent it in a different way than it was actually filmed, and that's a real pain for us, because we sculpted it exactly how it appears in all the reference, but you know, it's just part of the job sometimes. And another reason why I prefer to do all old licenses is because I'm old and I like stuff from the 70s and the 80s, and the video game stuff especially is there's always how the model looks in the game is different than how it looks in a cutscene or a cinematic or in promotional material. Our Kratos, for example, that we showed before, has two different heads, and one is based on the game model and one is based on the concept art, because they're two very different looks, and we feel like some fans prefer one over the other, so we're giving you both. But yeah, it's just it's a challenge. If it's something like Alien or Predator or Apes that we've grown up with and watched and know inside and out, or can throw on the movie and study it, it's a lot easier because we know it like the back of our hands. Or classic Batman or Christopher Reeve Superman, any of that kind of stuff, it's like ingrained in our minds. But doing the new stuff is always a lot more challenging. So I'm gonna open up like some general questions to our panel, and just you guys, whoever wants to answer can, but I think gives a little more insight into you know, what it's like to make toys for a living, and then we'll open up some Q&A from the crowd and give away some toys and stuff too. So I guess our general questions.
The people we work with, for sure. It's a kick-ass team, honestly. But yeah, just every day being surrounded by cool stuff all the time, and the licenses that we get, we're working on the coolest shit everywhere, you know. So.
Actually. For me, I have to say, well, what he said more or less, but also the fact that I have a job that I can put around 300 toys in my work area, and nobody thinks it's weird.
In fact, it's frowned upon if you have less toys.
Yeah, that's how you can tell if someone's into it. If you only have a couple figures, and it's like,
He's not a fan.
yeah, oh, this guy over here, he barely has room to work. Oh, he must be a fan. So yeah, that's probably my favorite part.
If you ever watch our videos like of the shop, you have to look at everybody's workspace and see how much the toys have encroached on their workspace.
Oh,
I think
yeah.
I have a desk that's like 2 of these tables.
You have 2 desks.
And I work like right here because everything else is covered in stuff.
Yeah, that's same here. Yeah, my workspace keeps shrinking. I think it's about like this now, but my table is like twice as big as this.
I think it's getting taller too, isn't it? You've got like.
Oh yeah, I have steps now, so
yeah,
we're growing vertically as well. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean that's true. What it's all about. We all love toys, and everyone's work areas are filled with toys made by all different people. It's not like we sit there with just our stuff. Whatever you like, just buy it, bring it in. Like we've all worked at different places where that was not encouraged, where you couldn't have anything, or you couldn't have anything that wasn't from the company you were employed by, and all sorts of other stifling, stupid rules. But no, it's just like a celebration of toys. It's fun. It's supposed to be fun. You should enjoy it. You should enjoy coming to work and whatever fuels your creativity. Heck, Jeff has an Urkel on his desk, so that's full disclosure.
On my way.
So,
Pull-string Urkel.
Yeah, and it still works a little bit. You have to just let it go slowly.
Talks really fast.
There he goes really fast. Yeah.
so on the opposite, I guess, what is the worst part of your job?
I was
The people we work with.
As a painter, I know that it's kind of a pain to have to paint 2 of the product. But then I think about like in China, and we've got a couple guys that go to China on the regular, and I mean, our production is insane. Like, and everything, I know before I started working in the toy industry, I thought that everything was done like by a robot, or there was some, because it doesn't say, oh, handmade in China. You know, it's like a hand, but it's not. Everything is hand painted, even if it's not us. It's still hand painted by someone in China, and they're painting thousands and thousands of things. So it's impressive. So each time you're holding a toy, it is like a work of art because there's somebody that's painting every single one of them. It's impressive. It's impressive.
You're saying you want to paint more figures.
Yeah, I'm saying 2 is too many for me, but 10,000, thank you. It's painting 2. It's painting 2.
It's the worst.
It's painting 2 is the worst.
For me, I'd have to say the worst part is when a figure doesn't come out. And it's happened plenty of times now. And sometimes it's something that I'm not so attached to, so it's like, well, yeah, that happens. And then every once in a while, there's one that's like, I really was looking forward to that one. You know, it's a bit heartbreaking at times. So it's just something you gotta roll with. It happens. Most of the stuff that we make does actually come out, but every now and then, for whatever reason, it doesn't always work out. And I would have to say that's my least favorite part.
That's a good answer. Good answer. That's a good answer.
All right, so you guys have heard us ramble on, so let's open it up to the floor. I guess anyone who has any questions about anything at all, we'll try to answer them for you.
Everybody, I know there's stuff you probably can't tell us about, but tell us your favorite things you worked on, or pick a favorite thing you worked on, why you liked it. Oh, it looks cool. So it seems great. Moved awesome. Yeah.
That's a good question.
Why don't you
Let's go down the line. Mine's the easy one for me. I'm a huge Batman fan, so I've gotten to work on a bunch of different Batman stuff, so I'm just happy to work on that. So it'll be batarangs, grapple guns.
Roger actually is Batman.
He is Batman. So
he took the personality.
Don't tell
test, he's
anybody.
Batman. I would say that it's actually, I'm going to build on the Batman theme. I love the Penguin, and there's never been a good Penguin. So for me, the 18-inch Penguin is my favorite, and I hope we do more. Fingers crossed, I hope we do. But that's hands down my favorite.
for dioramas, I love working on the horror dioramas. Anything horror related. I loved doing the Leatherface Texas Chainsaw Massacre dioramas. That was a blast to do those ones. Nightmare on Elm Street Cabin was the same. House was the same thing, and also Aliens is a blast because I can rip open an old VHS player or DVD player and steal all the parts and make it all, you know, out of that, because that's what they did in the films. So, you know, that's what's fun for me.
I too also like anything horror. Although these guys are big with saying it, but I really enjoyed Jason Voorhees packaging. But the 8-bit stuff is a lot of fun too, because I get to, I mean, obviously nobody has great images of these old 8-bit screens, so I basically have to go there square by square and just make all these big 8-bit images for the packaging. And that and anything Captain America I do.
I mentioned one of my favorite ones earlier, the Otachi. That's definitely way up there for me. The 1954 Godzilla is another one that I really liked, and one that just recently made that list is the Spike-tailed Predator, which you won't see till later, but I'm really into that. So,
know that it's awesome.
Yeah, Jeff did an amazing paint job on it too, so it's like, it's all over the place cool. It's really good.
Cool. The gentleman right here with the glasses.
Well, I'm assuming you guys still have the Godzilla 2014 movie license. Are there any plans to expand on that?
From 14 specifically, or classic?
Well, the 2014 movie, because I mean, there's still, as far as I've learned, there's no flying Muto or larger Muto figure from anybody. That's, except I think like Namco Bandai. You guys have specifics. Is there anything on the way or anything?
We had another 14 figure done with the atomic blast and all that, but speaking candidly, Toho was incredibly difficult to get approvals from. And our license also is very restrictive. Like, our license is Godzilla. Like, even classic Muto, we can't do like any other creature. It's only Godzilla. We do have some other stuff done, and Dave's going to be starting a brand new classic Godzilla as soon as he finishes his current Predator figure. So we have a couple more things planned. So we are continuing the Godzilla line, but it's more like legacy and going back. Like, we've done, you know, 54 and 94 and 84, 85, whatever. That we've jumped all over, but we are doing more classic, but nothing more from 14. And probably the next logical question would be, what about the next movie? And I don't know, is it's going to be treated as a separate license, and I'm not sure if we're going to do it yet. I know that we've had a lot of ideas that Toho hasn't been open to, like Marvel comic version, a Hanna-Barbera version, the Ghost Godzilla. Like, we've pitched a bunch of stuff, and they've said no to almost everything that's like outside the box. And we like to think outside the box, so it's a little bit frustrating to be restricted that much. So. Right here, this.
Can we see what's in the Cinema Machines folder and hear about that line?
Yes, absolutely, we can do that. Sorry, my kids are very eager to help give you all free toys. They're my biggest fans, but okay, Cinema Machines is something I'm really excited about. It's been something I've wanted to do for about 2 years, and it really didn't get underway until this past year. Vehicles is basically what it is. We cannot do vehicles that are compatible with our figures in the scale that they're at, because it'd be a fortune. Our figures are big, the vehicles would be huge, it'd be size of the table or bigger in some cases, and no one could afford them. So we were looking at how we could do it and what was going to work. So basically we designed to hit a price. We want the vehicle to cost as much as a figure would, but still be big enough that it looks like something. So we're not talking about micro machines. These are about 6 inches. They are very similar to a line that I was a fan of in the 90s called Action Fleet, which were like bigger, better Star Wars vehicles. This is like a bigger, better version of Action Fleet, because obviously we can sculpt and fabricate and machine better than those guys, and we can certainly paint better than them. So the first series is on display in our booth, so stop and see it. It's comprised of vehicles from Alien and Aliens. So we have the APC, we have the Space Jockey, which seems to be an early favorite. There we go, right there from the original film. These were painted by Jeff, myself, and another sculptor who's not here, Thomas Gwynn. It's the only reason this line happened is I was able to let Tom manage it and art direct it with some digital guys we work with. And thank God it's finally happening. And we've done about 12 at this point. Hopefully there'll be more. So come February at Toy Fair, you're gonna see a lot more. The material will be plastic and die cast. So there'll be some die cast parts as well. They'll be in little window boxes, sort of like how Action Fleet was, if you remember Action Fleet. If not, look it up. It was a cool line with A-wings and B-wings. At this point, no one else was doing it. I mean, look, and you have like, say, 20 or 30 Predator figures. Who wouldn't want to have a ship in there with that display, even if it's a smaller scale model of the Scout ship or something like that? So
it can be in the background.
Yeah. Display. Yeah. So you're going to see a lot more come Toy Fair. I'm hoping to have at least 10 at Toy Fair in February. So you're going to see the first 4, and they're in our booth now. So check them out. In about 6 inches, and the retail should be under $25, hopefully 20 to 22. So, and they're going up for pre-order next week. So if you're interested in them, please, please check. By far the best thing I've seen in years. I mean, I love that movie to death. So, I don't like much in current film, but that blew me away. But unfortunately, they don't license it, so no one's doing it. George Miller doesn't want to be involved in consumer products and doesn't want to deal with the studio and whatever. It is what it is. Maybe that'll change some point, but that is probably tops. I mean, Immortan Joe and Furiosa and everything in that movie deserved to be a toy. It was just amazing. You know, I can't think of anything I've liked more in a very long time. Yeah, beyond that, classic Nintendo is one I always fall back on just because we do our 8-bit imitations of movie licenses, but if I could go back and do like Metroid, Zelda, Mike Tyson's Punch-Out, it would be huge on my list.
Who did that 8-bit Mario? Someone just did an 8-bit Mario. Yeah. Like, it's a statue, but it's like small.
Yeah, and it's 2D, it's on the side.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Is that by Nintendo?
Yeah.
They did okay with that.
Yeah, they're okay. But I mean, I would love to do like Glass Joe and Tyson and King Hippo and like, even Nintendo's Pro Wrestling. Like, those are all games that I've loved and used to just play with my friends every day after school, you know, just to do those with Starman, King Corn Karn, all this crazy stuff, Puma, and that stuff was awesome, you know. But Nintendo doesn't see things the way we see them, so whatever, it is what it is. Anyone else? Red Cap right here.
Hey, what's going on? Going back to what was said before, like, what's the process of when like a figure gets canceled And what happened to those like prototypes? Are they like locked in a vault somewhere?
Yes, I love it.
They stay in our studio. Our studio is in Jersey, if you guys didn't know. We're right in Hillside, so we're local. And they stay there. Most of the time, when something gets canceled, it's before it's tooled. The tooling is when it actually gets turned into plastic and the big steel molds are created, which is a huge expense. So generally, we know something's not going to happen before that takes place. So all that exists at that stage is like a resin prototype, and those stay in our studio in Jersey. Most of them we keep on display. When we run out of space, we kind of box them up. We keep our favorites out, but we hold on to them. A lot of people have wanted our turtle villains, which we did about 9 years ago. Those are still on display because we want them too, and we continue to talk to Nick, who's the current license holder for turtles, to see what we can do about getting those out there. But Playmates has a stranglehold on all things toy related, at least at the price points that we're at. So, but we haven't, stopped. We're still trying, and we've still painted and prototyped more stuff that people haven't even seen. So we hope one day to return. We never give up, or we don't give up easily, and that shows like we've gotten stuff like Schwarzenegger as Dutch and Sigourney Weaver as Ripley. We keep beating down doors and making things happen and make these collections more complete for fans and for ourselves. So. Yeah, Spider Gremlin, Bat Gremlin, some of that stuff was years in the making, but eventually we do get it out there, so you never know.
Do you guys make stuff for yourselves? Like personal projects, do you like collaborate?
I think we've all got some personal projects that we work on. I mean, everybody's got a hobby, right? So, for sure I do some painting stuff on the side, a little bit of sculpting, but mostly painting stuff on the side.
I sculpt dinosaurs on the side. Yes. Yeah. I have creativebeast.com. All your dinosaur needs. All your dinosaur needs. Yeah, they're unpainted resin kits. I sculpt them when I can, at night on the weekends or whatever. And during weddings, I sculpt during weddings. Yeah, it's a good outlet. I think I encourage plenty of the guys, to be creative on their own time when they can, because the work that we do can be very creatively restricting because we stick so closely to the reference, and we have a lot of fun with that, but at the same time, a lot of us are very creative, and it helps if we have an outlet for that as well. And lately, we've been doing more conceptual stuff, which has been a lot of fun for us because we are creative people, and we are allowed to come up with our own ideas. But yeah, so I do the dinosaurs on the side, and that's pretty good.
We got about 4 minutes left, so I'm going to try to hit a few more questions. The guy right over here in the leather coat.
What are your, like in general, what are your favorite prototypes?
For me, it's classic apes and the Ninja Turtles villains.
It's got to be the Turtles villains. I think that's just that was a crushing blow when we didn't do this. That sucked.
I really wanted Zombie Ed from Shaun of the Dead.
Yeah, that's a good one too.
For me, it was the horses from the Lone Ranger that we were going to do in 3 3/4 scale. That it's Stephen's fault because his diorama didn't sell it well enough, and everybody backed out. It's like,
A couple more questions real quick. Who didn't I get? Let's get right here.
With the recent releases of Batman, Joker, Superman, and 89 Keaton, a lot of people love those, and there's certain restrictions that you guys have. Do you think there's a chance of seeing Penguin or Catwoman, Robin, or any of the other classic or other movie figures that some other companies may have dropped the ball on?
I hope so. Honestly, we don't know. Like this year, doing the 3, the Superman, the Ledger Joker, and the West Batman, it came out of nowhere. Like we ask and we try, but all that stuff is happening basically through a loophole with consumer products and home video. So if we can find a tie-in or something to do with Warner Home Video again, we will do more. I'd love to get the Penguin out there in that scale. I'd love to do a Catwoman. I'd love to do Bale. But at this point, it's completely up in the air. I would not love to do Bane. One more question.
I want Bane.
We got to wrap it up. Who didn't ask one yet that wanted to ask a question? No, we're good? Everyone got their... Okay.
Is there going to be another shipment of the Warner Brothers exclusives?
Yeah, there are more still shipping. I'm sure by the time holiday hits, there'll be no more. It's kind of run sold off, after holiday. But there are still more shipments hitting every week. Reeves, Superman hasn't hit a lot of places still, so there are replenishments. It's doing really well so far. So definitely check those out. It's an amazing thing we were able to do. Those figures are incredible versions and affordable versions of those characters. So they're out right now at Toys R Us and online through the Warner Brothers eBay account. Anyone else? Thanks to my kids for making noise and also for handing out the Ripley and Penelope for giving out toys to everybody. Thank you guys for coming.
Just